Some good entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Build on Beauty podcast, where beauty is born skin deep. Now, here's your host, author, speaker, entrepreneur, Cornell Jermaine.
Thank you so much for joining us. I have a special guest. He is one of America's top psychiatrists, author, dating and relationship expert, and TV host. Please help me welcome Dr. Ish Major. Dr. Ish, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Cornell. How you doing, man?
Excellent, excellent. We are in this strange, unusual time for all of America and the globe, really. And many relationships are experiencing conditions that they might not have otherwise been used to. Varying layers of that. We have parents and children, spouses, then we have people, the whole other world that's still trying to find a mate. Many parents I was in line the other day and a woman was in front of me talking and just sharing how she's really trying to adjust. She works from home and has worked from home for many years. She's having to now try to adjust this where the kids don't get up until 2 p.m. and they stay up till 1 a.m. And whereas she's up 6 a.m. working until 3, and she was just like frustrated. Give us some insight on how parents can better maneuver this, because the kids are not going to do schoolwork 8 hours for the day. So how can they adjust during this time?
Yeah, I think the parents, man, the parents are struggling, man. They've got to give themselves a break. They got to cut themselves some slack, right? You're a mom, you're not a teacher. You're a dad, you're not a teacher, right? You're not a school principal, you're not a school administrator. Your home schooling isn't going to look anything like what they do in school. And that's okay, right? This is just for now. It's not forever. Your kids aren't going to fail the SAT because you didn't help them with that algebra like you thought you could have for these last 2 months. It's going to be okay. But what parents really need to have to do is they've got to get everybody on a routine, right? On a schedule. Our routine is the way we know we're going to be okay. I get up at the same time every morning. I drink the same coffee from the same mug. I take the same route to work. I have lunch at the same time. I go home at the same time, right? So since that routine is totally wiped off the map, now you got to get everybody into a new routine. So with kids, you got to break it down into segments, right? Hey, first block of the day, kids, here's what we're going to do. You're going to be up. You're not sleeping until 2 o'clock. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get up. We have these planned activities. And then from there, you go into your second block, whatever that afternoon block looks like for you. From there, you're going to go. Everybody gets a little break time, right? So with parents, you've got to break everything down into segments, right? Your kids do best when they know what comes next, right? Kids don't do well when they have to make up their own schedule because they on some level, they recognize, oh, this is cool. I can do whatever I want. But on a whole nother level, they're like, oh my God, I'm a kid. Why can't I do whatever I want? So you got to get them on a schedule, and then they will play to your expectations. Hey kids, first block, we get up at 11, we're out of bed by at least 10, and we're doing schoolwork after breakfast and Now, okay, great. You did a great job. Now the second block, here's what we do in the second block. We do something a little bit lighter, right? Hey, third block, you know what? School's over. Now you're back to your other routine, and you can do that as if you just come home. And so kids, the quicker you get them adjusted to their new schedule is the quicker you get adjusted to your new schedule, and understand that the lessons that they really need, the biggest lessons, the things I remember as a kid weren't the things that a teacher taught me. It was the stuff that I learned at home while I was getting on my mom's nerve while she's in the kitchen, or while I was bugging my dad about something while he's trying to work on something. Right? Those are the lessons that stick with you. And so those are the things that you don't have to worry about. They're yours. You were born with those. Your mom, your dad, you love your kids. You're going to give them these lessons automatically. Take some of that pressure off yourself to show up and be the perfect teacher or the perfect principal. You don't have to do it, and your kids don't need it.
So good. Now let's get into that whole dating crowd who I'm just going to give you a scenario. Let's just maybe a couple who maybe been dating 3 months and they gone out and have a good time, and then the pandemic hits. Now they're stuck at home. How can they still, build a solid relationship and a bond under these conditions? What kind of unique things can they do?
Yeah, so Cornell, that's a great question. Virtual dating is a real thing, and you should use it to your advantage, right? We spend so much time on our device, on our phone, on our laptop, scrolling, feeling like we have these connections, but we realize that they're really very superficial. So now couples are having to do, or folks who are dating are having to do this really weird thing, Cornell, where they got to actually get on the phone and have conversations and tell people stuff about each other. You know, and I got to listen to you and take this information in and think about, do I really want to see this person again or not? And so, right, it's a weird kind of thing. But again, the pressure's off, right? If this doesn't go well, I just don't have to call you back next week. I don't have to pick up the next time. So I can be all of me. I was reading an article about somebody who's dating in LA, virtual dating. They were like, you know what? This has been fantastic because I can be my normal, funny, goofy self. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And I'm moving on. It's, it's no harm, no foul. So I suggest you do virtual dates. So if you met somebody, like your question, and we had a great time these first couple of times out, and we want to continue, so you reel them up on a virtual date. You set the time. 8 o'clock on a Friday night, we're going out. Actually at home, but we're going out. And so you're going to put on a clean shirt, and you're going to take off the sweatpants, and you're going to dial them up. You're going to have your favorite beverage of whatever, and you're going to acknowledge, hey, you know what? This is super awkward for me, and I'm sure it's got to be for you, but there's just something about you that made me not want to wait until this is all over to get to know more. Now you got an instant connection.
So just put on a clean shirt, get dressed, and put on a little cologne and get creative.
Get creative and acknowledge the elephant in the room, right? Hey, this is awkward. This is a weird thing, but I think you're cool, and I don't want to wait until this is over to get to know more about you. And so that's your connection, and then from there you just let it flow, right? You just let it flow. Hangouts and hookups are down. Conversations are up. And I think what this has taught a lot of us is what really is fulfilling, what's really making us feel good, and what's really not. And so if you notice, we're having much less tolerance these days for the stuff that's not real and for the stuff that doesn't fill us up, right? And so you're going to know within 5 minutes, hey, whether this is a connection we need to continue or not. If you're out at a bar, you're out doing your thing, mixing and mingling, it may take a while. It may take till the next morning till you figure out if this was a connection that was going somewhere or not.
Mm-hmm. Now, virtual dating specifically, because I've always understood it as you're dating online. You meet somebody maybe on a platform, Christian Mingle, whatever. Talk about that in the specific processes, because there are many people who are so unfamiliar, they don't even know how to navigate that. So you get somebody that's interested in you. What should they do next step?
Okay, so online dating is a whole different set of rules, right? Because everybody's not there for the same reasons. Some folks are there strictly for the predatory nature of it, right? They think it's, oh my God, it's fresh meat and it is hunting season. Let's see what's out there. So you've got to be really, really careful about how much of you share at what pace, right? Quick tips: make sure your pictures are current, right? But make sure they're you currently somewhere. Don't give people a tour of your whole house online, right? They don't need that. That's not what we're there to do. Make sure your information is true to you, right? You're not trying to appeal to the masses. You're not trying to appeal to the next 100 guys that are going to swipe on your profile or the next 100 ladies. You're only looking for the one, right? And so it's really a numbers game when it comes to the online dating stuff. And so share those things that make you you, because I'm looking for information about you that lets me know, okay, this is a person I want to get to know more about. Hey, they're cool. They're kind of quirky. I just happen to be into that quirk. Let me get some more information about it. The sooner we can figure that out, the sooner we can really get this thing going. And then from there, you have those conversations, right? Whether it's emails, whether you're doing your video chatting, whatever you're doing, and you can have those honest conversations because you're really just trying to feel each other out and see who is it on the other side of this. Who's it on the other side of this 2D information that I have online? What's this real person like? And then from there, at some point, you're going to be able to go out and actually meet if you feel so inclined. You have to do that in a very safe way. But the big thing about online dating, especially for ladies, that first meeting, Cornell, by God's sakes, don't let them come to your house. Never do that. You meet them at a predetermined location. Don't let them send you an Uber. Don't give them your address. None of this stuff. And then you tell a girlfriend or 2 or 3, hey, I'm going out with Cornell this Friday at 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And here's his picture, here's his number. If you don't hear from me by 11 o'clock, you come looking for Cornell, right? Because you never know. It never pays to be. You can never be too safe in those situations. And then from there, we all got this cool thing called instincts. Trust your gut. right? You know whether something feels right or whether some things don't. But the problem is we get so desperate and we get so thirsty when it comes to dating, Cornell, that we will overlook all those other things, all those other red flags, because we feel like we got to make this thing work, and you really, really just don't.
Yeah, there's always been that unusual process with virtual dating, or just dating online, I should say, because a lot of people, specifically women, don't know if they should ask certain questions on that first conversation. Like he pokes her online and she calls that first conversation. She wants to know, you've been married, how many kids, all this stuff that he's like, well, hold on, let's just get to know. Give us some time frame on that, particularly our ladies, because I think that happens more with women. When should they start even inquiring about those specifics?
Oh, Cornell, I love this question right here. Listen, ladies, there is no time frame. If that's the information that is paramount on your mind, if that's what you need to understand to get to the next phase with this gentleman, ask your question. There is absolutely, positively no question, nothing you can say or do on that first interaction that is going to scare your Mr. Right away. So here's what they don't understand. If I'm the guy, right, and I am tired of the BS, I'm tired of the phony relationships that don't last, I want a real connection, I'm ready to be vulnerable, I'm ready to bare my soul, I'm disappointed if you don't ask me those things. Because now I know you're not interested in what I'm interested in. I thought you were here for a real connection. I'm ready to tell you all of it and show you why I'm the guy who you need to be picking up the phone and thinking about texting or calling next. So when I show up and you don't ask me those things, I'm like, maybe she's not into me, or maybe she's not ready for what I'm ready for, because I'm ready to go all the way in. So ladies, never be afraid to ask your questions, because the guy for you is dying to answer them.
Wow, that's a good point. That's a good point. You have a course that's helps people meet what you call meet their love of their life, the love of their life in the first 3 dates. Yeah. That's magic. What? Tell us about that course.
It's science, Cornell. Listen, science proves, studies show that every man knows if he's falling in love with you or not by the end of the 3rd date. He may not say it. He may not tell you, but he's going to tell his boys. The boys are going to be like, man, you're looking kind of funny. What's going on with you? He will know, right? He knows if this is the thing or not. It doesn't take long. Women know whether they're attracted to you within the first 3 seconds. We overcomplicate it because we play all these games in our mind about everything that happened last year and last month, and on the last 2 guys we dated, on the last 3 women 3 girlfriends and stuff. We block ourselves from the true connection when really it's very, very simple. So yeah, what you got to do is, the quicker you can be transparent, the quicker you can be vulnerable, the quicker you can share more of you, the quicker I can make an informed decision about you. Yeah, that's cool. But you know what? That is really weird. Just so happens I am equally weird. So let's go with it. It's just one of those things. And that's what you're trying to know, right? You're not there to be who they want you to be. You're there to be who you are. And then they're going to make a decision. That's the love thing, right? I pick you, and then you pick me back. But in order for us to pick each other, we got to know what we're picking. And we can only get that by information.
That's good. I'm glad you mentioned that, because my next question was going to be that whole love of my life. That can be relative. As an expert in dating and relationship, how do you define that? Like, what should be the basis of you saying this is the love of my life?
I think that's a great question. And a lot of folks really got it twisted, because we've got this idea of Mr. or Mrs. Right on paper, right? Okay, well, I want them to be from this kind of town and from this kind of family and have this, background and this education. I want their parents to have done this, right? And so we've got this idea. And then when we meet this person in real life, it's like, not really, right? There's no chemistry, but it's everything I wanted on paper. So maybe I need to adjust and shift. No, you don't need any of that. Here's your guiding light. How do you feel when you're with them? Do they help you feel better about who you are? Not do they make you happy, because nobody can make you happy. That's an internal process. You got to have that done before you get there. The mistake most people make is they look for a relationship to make them happy, and that's just not what it's about. The relationship is the place to go once you are already happy, and then you can share in each other's happiness. And so your guiding light is to be, hey, you know what? Do I like the way I feel when I'm with this person? Do I like who I am? Do I like how I show up in the world, right? Do they help me feel good, or do they help me feel worse about who I am, right? And so that's always your guiding light. We're there to help each other feel better, not make you, but we're there to enjoy each other's happiness. So that you let that be the main thing. And there's a cool thing on my website. So a couples compatibility quiz. So every couple who comes on the show, every celebrity couple, housewife, hip hop star, whatever, I make them all take this compatibility quiz before they get there. Because I need to know if y'all actually look right on paper or not, right? And so that is for free on my website. You can go there, drishmajor.com, download it for free, and just do the compatibility quiz. Because there's some questions that we are very, very afraid to ask. A lot of us don't want to ask about kids. Well, you've got a couple kids. Do you want any more? Because I kind of want some more. But if you don't, then I'll say I don't because I want this to really work. What about finances? What is your idea? How much money are you comfortable with keeping in the bank for emergencies? Right? People don't talk about this. Money gets people into trouble. Fitness. Listen, I'm a 2 or 3 day, per week workout kind of person. What about you, right? Some things need to be, we need to talk about this. What is your religion? What's your spirituality? What's your take on all that? Are you religious? Are you spiritual? Here's where I am. Okay, well, what if we have kids? How do we raise those kids? What about family? How do we do that? Your folks are mine for Christmas. Turkey or ham for, it's a big deal. I have seen people stab each other over Christmas lights when it comes to clear lights versus red or blue Christmas lights. You think I'm joking, but it has happened, okay? It happens. It's a big deal. You got to talk about these things, and most folks don't talk about it until it's staring you smack in the face, and you're like, oh my God, who are you, you animal? How could you dare put up clear lights for Christmas? That's the problem.
I'm laughing partly because it sounds so extreme, but then on the other hand, I'm a clear lights person.
That's what I'm saying, right? Right.
Oh my goodness. Let's talk the married couples. Because we're discussing relationship reset. And there's a lot of married couples during this quarantine who are learning some things about each other that they didn't know. How can they adjust and make this work so they can still have a wife or a husband when they come out?
That's a good question. So we got 2 types of couples, right? Whether we've got the couples who are together, whether you're married, cohabitating. A lot of young couples aren't married, but they are coupling up and cohabitating. So we've got two lanes, right? We've got the lane where things were good going into the quarantine, and we're going to see how we get through this as a couple. And we've got the lane where things were not good. And oh my God, now I've got to spend not only 4 to 5 hours with this person awake every day, but now it's 12 to 16. And I have no idea how we're going to do that. So if things were good, here's what you do. A marriage is a place that highlights what you do well. And so let that be the thing that gets highlighted, right? You're going to do more of those things that you enjoy with each other, whether it's Netflixing, whether it's, whatever activities you can find to do around the house. Here's a really cool thing I love to do for couples who are in their groove. Go buy a puzzle. Order from Amazon so you don't have to go out. One of those huge, scary-looking puzzles that you have no idea how you're going to put together, and you put it together. And you sit down and you work on the puzzle, and there's something magical about watching each other's hands find those pieces and see how they fit together, and then you subconsciously start to think about how you two fit together. It's a very intimate thing to do. I love those kind of games for couples who are doing well. It's just those things that keep you connected when you don't feel like you have to literally sit there and entertain each other. Now, for the couples who weren't doing so great, and that is a lot of folks, you just got to address the elephant in the room. You can't pretend like it's not there. You sit down, you have a grown folks conversation. Hey, listen, you know what? I know things aren't where they're supposed to be with us, and neither one of us figured we'd ever be here. But at the end of the day, I'm still your friend. And friends have empathy for one another, and friends recognize that this is a scary situation, and neither one of us know how we're going to get through it. But I'm going to support you best I can, and I hope you will do the same for me. And at the end of this, we have some decisions to make, right? I know I want you to be happy, and I know I deserve to be happy. And so whatever else happens, I hope that when this is over and is all cleared up, that neither one of us are standing in the way of each other's happiness, right? Most couples don't get in trouble because they can't resolve all their issues well. Most of us can't. Most couples get in trouble because you never take the time to acknowledge the issue with your partner in the first place. Just acknowledge it. Most of us just want to be heard. Hey, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because these are the things that I don't know how we get around it or under it or over it, but this is what's bugging me about us, right? And you just talk about that, and then you can move forward. When you focus on the friendship, right? We may not be feeling each other romantically, right? We may not be lovey-dovey, but we're still friends. So if you can focus on the friendship, friends help each other get through a thing. Friends want to know friends are doing well. Focus on the friendship, takes the pressure off the relationship, and you can get through that quarantine.
So good. You're one of the experts on WeTV's Marriage Boot Camp, and there are some similarities in that you guys force the couples to go into quarantine to a degree with other couples. I'm curious, with that data that you guys pull from the show and just your own work, what is it that we're missing in our relationships particularly when we're talking about going into a committed long-term relationship, that we need to be catching so that when we are in situations like this, you guys aren't busting each other in the head, you know?
honest expectations, right? We've all got this idea in our head of what the perfect wife or girlfriend should be, what the perfect man, what the perfect husband should be, right? And we've got these own ideas, right? I've got in my head an idea of what a perfect wife should be. So now I'm here, we're doing the thing, but you're not doing the things that I thought a perfect wife would do if she loved me. So that must mean now either you're coming for me, either you don't love me right, or either you're not as perfect as I thought, right? Something is total. And so what you got to do is really have an honest conversation about the expectations, about the roles, right? Roles are different now. Women are doing different stuff than they did just 10 years ago. Guys are doing different, right? Some guys are working from home now and they don't have to be out there. And so you've got to understand that. And, you know, as Black people in particular, man, we have some very antiquated gender roles when it comes to our relationships. We think, oh, well, okay, you know, think about when a man says he met somebody, first question all his boys ask, how does she look? When a woman says, sister girl says, I met somebody, first question all her girls ask, what does he do? Right? And so we got to understand, okay, yeah, that's a thing, but there's a lot more to us than just what we do or how we look and how we relate to each other. So you got to have that honest conversation about expectations. Hey, let's talk about love languages. I know you're loving me today when I get this, right? And so I know you like acts of service, but really, I don't need all that. All I need from you is to hear the words and hold my hand while you tell me, right? And it's a very easy conversation, but if you have it early, now you can get some good information, because if you have it later on, if you wait until people are unhappy, now you're never going to hear what they got to say, because all you feel is that they're blaming you for their unhappiness. All you hear is everything you're doing wrong when they say, I would rather you say it and not do it. And you're like, oh my God, right? And so have the conversation early so you can clear up everybody's expectations. It's a very simple process.
Wow, so good. We have to talk about one other thing before you go, and that seems to disrupt relationships, both married and dating, and that's social media. What are the rules from your vantage point for relationships and social media? Many people, they go head on fighting with their spouse or their dating person on Facebook. Should you not be engaging like that? What's your take? What are the rules?
Look, as a spectator of other people's social media fights, it's fun to watch, hard to live with. Right? Here's my advice for you. The minute you start dating, whether you met online or in person, the minute you guys are going to be in this exclusive dating situation, you need to unfollow each other on every platform you have, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Don't even look at their TikToks and forget about it, because I got you in real life. I don't need you online, right? Because online just increases the amount of everything that can go wrong in a relationship. It increases the amount of misinformation that can get through. Hey, I thought you said you were staying home last night, but I saw you post this pic that said that showed you out. Wait, no, that picture was taken 2 days ago, right? This misinformation, right? Here's the thing. Every relationship has got to have good boundaries, right? And when you are sharing your life together on social media, you erode those boundaries, because now it's not just about the family and friends you know, it's about the millions of people that you don't know who are also having access to your intimate information, and they're having their input, right? And so if you are dumb enough to read the comments, you're going to be in trouble. because that's going to be a huge problem, right? And so the thing is, you protect your relationship from the inside out, not the outside in. You've got to be very careful about those boundaries. And why relationships, good relationships, solid relationships are hard enough with no distractions. Why would you open yourselves up to all these other unnecessary distractions to, let's be honest, people who don't matter in your life? You don't know them. They don't know you. Why is it so important for him to snap this picture of you at this place with this drink, showing all your girlfriends and all the girlfriends you don't know how happy you are, right? What are you really here for? Are you in the moment with me, or are you in the moment for them? And so that's the question.
Wow, so good. We're getting ready to wrap, but generally speaking, relationships, parents, children, spouses, how can we position ourselves during this period to where when this is all said and done, we can come out better? What can we be doing?
Yeah, man, this is a great question. And this is as scary as this time is, there's always a silver lining. And so the silver lining is here. You had 6 to 8 weeks where the world literally stopped. And you had time to focus on not just your job and not just your family, not just your friends. You had time to focus on you and how you feel every single day and how you have been showing up in the world. And you've got a chance to reshape that, right? And so what you got the unique opportunity to figure out, hey, you know what? I haven't been showing up how I want to as a dad. I haven't been showing up how I want to as a partner. I haven't been showing up how I want to as a colleague. What can I do to make sure that's different? And so what we've got is all these resources, right? We've got coaches online. We've got mentors online. Whether you know them, whether you don't, that is not important. There is somebody out there who's being the kind of father you want. Follow their life. I'm sure you can follow them on whatever social media platform there is. There's somebody out there who's being the best TV show host that they can be, like you want to be. Follow them, right? Success leaves breadcrumbs. Follow them. Pattern yourself after them. We're not reinventing the wheel here, right? There are people who've done what you are doing and what you want to do successfully. So what you can do is model some of their behavior. Take all those bits and pieces from their life. Oh yeah, that worked great. I would love to have some of that. That worked great. I would love to show up as that. And then leave the things that don't. But take advantage of what we have, which is access to millions and millions and millions of people who have done some of the things that we are trying to do. You don't have to figure it all out for yourself.
So good. So good. Well, Dr. Ish, I want you to give our listeners and viewers some details on how they can learn more about your course, get connected, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, man, for sure. So we've got, just go to the website, drishmajor.com. Obviously, I'm on Instagram, Dr. Ish Major, same name on Facebook, same name on Twitter. Here's the cool thing about going to the website. So we've got a couple courses, right? We've got the Find the Love of Your Life in 3 Dates or Less. You'd be amazed how much it works. And then the questions I've been getting so much flooded in my inbox during this quarantine, man, is about, do you only work with celebrities? Oh, now I work with everybody, but I stay pretty busy. And so it's hard for me to get everybody scheduled, and let's be honest, and it's expensive. And so what I have done is come up with a take-home version of boot camp for folks to use, right? The exact same issues we tackle on the show, you can now tackle those exact same issues in the comfy confines of your own home. So that's going to drop on the 29th. And for the first 25 people who sign up, you're going to get a free session with me. And so that'll be a super cool thing. So make sure you keep going to the website. We got a ton of free stuff on there before that drops. And it'll be very affordable in everybody's price range, because everybody's, I'm like cutting half the price because everybody's hurting with the Corona stuff, man. So it's like you shouldn't have to break the bank to get good information to be happy with your partner and with yourself. So yeah, make sure you come for that. That's starting on the 29th. And a whole new season of Marriage Boot Camp.
Some good entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Who do we have on this season? Do you remember?
You know what? They haven't. We can't say just yet. They haven't released all the names yet. But look, if you're familiar with TMZ at all, you can probably figure it out, because some of the fights were so humongous that they leaked to TMZ. So that's all I can say. It's going to be probably our most shenanigan-filled season yet, man. It's a lot.
Ooh-wee, it's going to be good. I can't wait. Well, Dr. Ish, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Stay safe out there. Stay well, yes, and I'll be in touch.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you, Cornell. Thank you, man.
Well, this has been the Build on Beauty podcast, where beauty is born skin deep. I'm your host, Cornell Jermaine. Until next time, let your soul be made whole. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Build on Beauty podcast. For more information about our host, please visit CornellJermaine.com.